What started as two guys in a bar in Ferndale has now blossomed into over 6,000 members. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Laurel Hassan. This is Comcast Newsmakers Extended. Joining me now is the co-founder of IT in the D, Bob Waltenspiel. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Laurel.
I like that name. You know, IT in the D has a nice little ring to it, but what exactly is it?
So it started off as the Detroit Networking Organization back in 2001.
Which is totally a boring name.
Totally. That's why when we came up with IT in the D, it was like, sounds way better. But what it was is we wanted to network. We wanted to go to events. We wanted to meet people. And there wasn't really anything conducive for us. We were inundated with meeting people in the MLM industry, nothing against them, but we wanted to talk to people in the IT industry. So I said, how difficult would it be to tell the bar we're showing up with a bunch of IT geeks, and that's it. And they let us come in, and we don't charge anybody anything. We don't need to pay $20 to go. They want us to come anyway. And just sit and have a decent conversation with no agenda, no pressure. If you want to meet all the people in the room, great. If you don't, great.
This sounds like a Chamber of Commerce mixer for IT people in a cooler location.
That doesn't, yeah, we always say that doesn't suck. But yeah, no, it was anti-chamber. We wanted everything that wasn't. We didn't want any sales pitches around it. We didn't want, especially with IT geeks, they don't want to be sold to. They just want to talk shop. So why can't we just create a venue where everyone can just talk shop with a pressure-free environment?
So you started doing this back in 2001.
Correct.
Fast forward to 2016. What has this idea morphed into?
So it's gotten crazy. So in 2007, we really fired it up and kind of put some more time and effort into it. We started writing a blog series. So instead of giving you here's our rules of engagement, we started writing a blog series called Don't Be That Guy. And it became kind of our symbol of what we believed in. And we ended up winning CBS Best Blogger. A year later, we were noticing half the room was out of work, right? There was a bad time, it was the recession. So we said, well, job fairs are terrible. They make you stand in these lines, they give you a postcard to fill out a resume. Why can't we do what we do, but times 10 with just people out of work or just people hiring? So, of course, we couldn't just have it the Detroit Networking Organization, IT in the D job fair. So we called it a pink slip party. And lo and behold, we were the breaking news story on Channel 4. We had 500 and some odd people in a bar that holds 300. And we kind of looked at each other.
Fire code violation, by the way.
Exactly. They were outside. But lo and behold, we said we're kind of onto something. We started getting asked to be speakers because, hey, we have 6,000 members in our networking organization. You guys know about networking. So we started speaking for Michigan Shifting Gears, and we were helping people that were in career transition to network, to get out there, to shake hands, to meet people, do out things outside the box you would normally do. And we ended up winning a award from the state of Michigan for enhancement of the careers and lives of, and we're like, wait, no, we're just helping people meet people. This isn't, rocket science here. And then lo and behold, we got asked to guest on in a podcast, and we launched the IT in the D show in a podcast network down in Detroit. And it's blossomed to almost 20,000 plays and
wow.
being listened to in all 50 states.
There must be a demand out there. There's a bunch of IT folks that just want to talk IT, and you're helping them really navigate, it sounds like, what might have been a difficult scene out there on how to get a job or how to get a promotion, and you're really, it sounds like from past experience, able to give them advice.
So our mantra this whole time has been networking Detroit one beer at a time. And it wasn't really the essence of it, but it was really more to convey a relaxed environment. We didn't want it to be stuffy. We didn't want the podcast to be stuffy. That's already out there, right? We didn't want to be corporate. It's already out there. We want you to come and not wear a tie, loosen up your collar, relax, meet people that are like you.
But now have you become stuffy because now you have something called the Career Academy?
No, we are not stuffy. The Career Academy was really, we got introduced to somebody that's offering curriculum for training. So we've always been behind, we always wrote a blog called The Path, which was helping people navigate, hey, I want to get into IT. What do I do? Where do I go? We got this question to ask 10 times a week. So we wrote a blog called The Path, which kind of navigated that. Career Academy is basically just training materials to get people started in IT and then extending their careers in IT. So it's almost like going to college, getting these first 3 certifications, getting a job that matches those certifications, then figuring out what you like to do.
You're really making me want to become an IT person, and I don't know anything about it. But thank you so much for joining us. We're going to talk with your co-partner, if that's a term, and find out a little bit more about your organization. And thank you for filling us in.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And thank you, but don't go away. We are going to be right back with David Phillips, the co-founder of IT in the D.
Great shops, great eats, and great places. It's My Destinations, only on Xfinity On Demand. From Detroit to Grand Rapids, now you can check out some of Michigan's greatest destinations. Delicious pizza, Michigan craft beer, great family museums, and so much more. It's easy. Push the On Demand button on your remote, navigate to Get Local, and select My Destinations. It's My Destinations, only on Xfinity On Demand. Another way Comcast stays focused on the community.
In 2016, their weekly live broadcast hit the milestone of having had over 20 million listeners, while consistently being the #1 ranked technology podcast on SoundCloud. Welcome back. Joining me now is the other co-founder of IT in the D, David Phillips. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me out.
Talking about your podcast, if I knew what a podcast was or what SoundCloud was, this would be much more interesting, but I'm sure you're going to fill me in.
So again, a podcast, think internet radio. It's the easiest way to think about it. I mean, it's no different than what you hear in your car now, just coming across a different broadcast medium. SoundCloud is one of the main distribution points for podcasts. So you instead of turning your dial and you're listening to whatever 96.3 or 97.1 or whatever channel you happen to pick is playing for you, podcast listeners are going out and actively saying, I want to listen to that, give it to me. So it's kind of one of the nice things about the podcast market is that listeners are more actively engaged.
So you started what type of a podcast, when, and how has it changed and grown?
Wow. So we started ours in June of 2013. It was basically, at the time, we thought it was going to be our bowling night. We would sit around and just talk a little tech, just like we do like in a bar with friends. Those friends just might happen to be CIOs, CEOs, and CTOs. We've also had roller derby girls, the folks that run Go Comedy Improv, and a couple other local businesses on. So I mean, we try to keep it loose and casual, but it's a weekly conversation with whoever happens to be doing cool stuff in the area. Now, how it's blown up, our first few episodes, we were happy when they had 10, 15, 20 listeners. We've had what we call hockey stick events where our growth will all of a sudden do that and then plateau out. So we had a jump when we had the gentleman that runs Motor City Comic Con on, and that was the first time we broke 30,000 listeners. And then laughably, one of our big things, we found out Taco Bell had found 1,000 people they thought were social media influencers and sent them burner phones. And we found somebody here in the area that had one on.
Burner phone. Here we go with more technology words.
Sorry. And so we wound up tweeting at Taco Bell during the entire episode, and they kept retweeting it, and that was the first time we had 100,000 listeners. So yeah, I mean, it's been kind of interesting.
And it's so interesting. I mean, imagine, I don't even want to know where you started this first podcast, but now you have a studio?
We do. So a good friend of ours, the owner of TriNet and Activate, had said, you guys really need to get out of where you are, and built us a studio up above his offices. He had some extra suite space. So we started there. It took all of about 3 or 4 weeks before we started getting the knock on the door.
Keep it down.
Well, no, quite the opposite. Friends that were going, hey, you guys have this great studio that you're using for 2 hours a week. Would you stop being jerks and open the door? We'd like to do podcasts too. So that led to us launching Podcast Detroit in July of 2015 with just 3 shows, which kind of grew and then grew and then grew again. And so here we are, in 2016, we've got another new building because we outgrew where we were. We just took over a new spot and built out with 3 studios running at the same time. We've got over 60 shows on our network, and it's a little nuts.
So back to, that's amazing, and I know your shows cover everything, right?
Yeah.
They're not just IT, but back to your podcast, it must be really interesting to listen to for the IT folks, or you wouldn't be getting all these listeners, right? So what do you talk about?
I laugh. I've always said, we don't quite understand why somebody in, Miami, we look at where our pockets of listeners are. And what we've heard from a lot of people is as we grew our group here in Michigan and people were unfortunately leaving because of the economy, people stayed in our group and stayed in touch with our group because they wanted that taste of home. So when we launched our podcast, we had a built-in demographic all around the nation that was already ready for us to do something like this. So, and they've kind of told people, and they've told people, or, we find out we get talked about at a podcast event, or we get talked about on somebody's blog out in Dallas or New York or Miami. And we'll see a little heat bloom in our metrics as far as more people are listening from that area. We've always grown organically. We did launch sort of an online campaign to guilt trip somebody in Alaska to start listening. They were the 50th state.
So you could say that you were in 50 states?
Exactly.
We'll pay you.
Yeah, exactly. Nudge, nudge, hint, hunt, wink. Yeah, but we did. So yeah, we actually have a good little closet of listeners out there now. So yeah.
All right, well, awesome. Let's let folks know how to listen. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your 60 Show network, and let's hope it grows. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you would like to listen to the show or find out any more information about IT in the D in general, you can visit itinthed.com. Thank you for watching this special edition of Comcast Newsmakers Extended.